Okay, in this video, we are going to do exercise 4.1 of the in our ASP.NET 4.6 textbook. It's the 3 o'clock class, November 3rd. And we haven't covered any of chapter 4 in class yet, but I think that it would be good if we actually saw what we were going to talk about first. If we just build up the application, go through this exercise, it's very simple, and see what we're doing. And then after we're done with that, we'll be able to go back and go through the slides pretty quickly and pretty much learn how to express what we did. And with ASP.NET, of course, it's not only learning Visual Studio and learning these new ways of making web pages and websites and all the things that it adds to it, but also the terminology. So by building up the website and seeing where we're headed, that should help. Now, this is the Halloween store shopping cart problem, and what I'm going to do is with the textbook, they also gave us the solution file. I'm going to open up and look at the website. And I've added link to where you can purchase the book from Murach, but and you can buy it on Amazon also. But the free downloads come here, and basically, if you download the exercises, zip here, then you have these exercises. And so I'm going to start by just running the solution for exercise 4-1, just so we can see what the final product looks like. And we see it's this Halloween Superstore, and it looks like this. And you can buy stuff, buy a Jar Jar Binks, whatever, costume, and say you want to get 2 of them, and we add it to the cart, and we see that it's added to the cart here. We can continue shopping. Let's get a, I don't know, Skull Fogger, get 3 of those, and see where they're added there, and we can take stuff out, we can remove items, we can empty the cart. The checkout doesn't quite work yet, but we're going to actually build this thing up from a basic template that they give us. So that's what the solution looks like, and so I'm going to close this out now, and we're going to start with the basic exercise set of files that they give us. I'm going to close the solution, and I have the Visual Studio that I just opened up here, and I'm going to go and open up I'm going to open a project, and I'm going to go to the 3 o'clock class, and it's going to be exercise 4, and find the solution file. There it is. And while this opens up, here it is. Let's just go through this step by step. We're going to look at all the files, see what we got to start with. Then we're going to build out the order page. That's the first page that we see, and that takes us to here. We're going to throw in some code, and then we're going to build out the cart page and just add code, and it ends here. And so we start out with open up the web application, and then let's run it, and we see this error message that we get if we run this. We get this error message, and if we can look at this and learn things from it. Basically, the reason that we got this is because we have not yet set the start page. So let me stop this. And we see we get the error message, and it means the start page hasn't been set. So let's set that start page. So this is the Solution Explorer, as you recall. Solution Explorer. This is the Server Explorer, and we do have a database there, Halloween database. And so to set the start, we want the start page to be this one. So I'm going to right-click and set as start page. And now when we run this, we see that it runs. And we have we have here the drop down is there, but it's not connected to anything. There's no text here. The add to cart, that validation is there. The go to cart works, but really nothing else works. I mean, these back buttons don't work or anything. So I'm going to turn this off and let's see what's next. Run the application again. When the order page is displayed, click on the Go to Cart button to go to the cart page. Note that both forms have all of the controls that are required, but only the Go to Cart button works. Okay, so stop the application, return to Visual Studio, and view the folders and files. And we're going to notice that the Models folder contains the 3 classes, the objects that we use for our data, to store our data and to pass it. The App Data folder contains our SQL database. We've got a Content folder that contains our CSS files, along with our site.css file. And then we have our ASP.x files down at the bottom with our web forms and our validation controls. And let's look at what we have here. Scripts too. I was looking for that. These are our scripts, our jQuery and Bootstraps so our website is responsive, so we can look at it in a mobile application on a mobile phone, and it'll look this is nice. We have our models here, which are these are the classes. For example, this is a product class, and this is what we use when we create a list of products. It's a list of these things. And we have our images here. Basically, it's just the banner at the top plus images for all of our products, which is nice. And we have our fonts, some additional fonts here. And these are this is our content folder, and these are our Bootstrap CSS files. And we didn't cover Bootstrap in our last lecture, but I suggest you do exercise 3.2. It's very short, and you'll just learn about the Bootstrap, which a framework where the JavaScript can identify what kind of browser is being used with the application, and then it adjusts CSS accordingly. And so that's how you get responsive websites. And then here's our data with our app data with our Halloween database. Here's our 3. We've got our ASP pages. This is our cart. We're going to mess with this. This is our order page. And we're going to start out by messing with that. And this is our order.aspx, or our code behind file, and we're going to fill this up. The last thing we'd like to look at is the web.config file. And the thing we should notice here is that we have set the unobtrusive validation mode to none. And you recall from Chapter 2, Figure 2-13, I can go back there, but the unobtrusive add validation. Unobtrusive validation. In ASP 4.5 and later, we have unobtrusive validation, and what that is it's a set of you include in a NuGet package that's got a bunch of jQuery in there, and to do the form validation, like to know if a form field has to be filled out before you click the submit button, or if the range of a field's got to be like an integer between 1 and 20 or something like that. That's what the validation does. And in the older versions of ASP.NET, there was a bunch of just some ASP.NET code that was added in, a bunch of JavaScript that did the validation. But jQuery does it a lot more efficiently and less obtrusively, I guess. And so now with 4.5 6 and later, the default is that you are using unobtrusive validation. The trouble is for unobtrusive validation to work, you need to have this NuGet package, and you need to install the NuGet package. What you need to do for your website to work is I mean, if you're going to have validation, is you either need to go and turn off the unobtrusive validation, or you need to install this jQuery. And so we're just going to turn it off, although it's easy to install it, but jQuery. But in this exercise, we're going to leave it off, or we're going to switch it off. And this set of files comes with it turned off already. So let's go back to our exercise here. Okay, so we've done steps 1, 2, 3, and 4, and now we're going to build out our order page. And so we're going to open the order form in source view. Let's do that. Open the order page in source view. This is source view. And we're going to add an SQL data source control right after the code for the drop-down list and configure the source to get product data from the Halloween database as shown in figures 4.8 and 4.9. Okay, let's first of all, let's find where we're going to add this data source control. This is the drop-down list for the products, and they would like us to put it right after that code, so right here. And I'm just going to go over to the toolbox, and I'm going to find SQL data source, SQL data source. Here it is. And I'm just going to put it right here. And then I'm going to configure the data source. So, and I'm going to configure the data source to get product data from the Halloween database, as shown in figures 4.8 and 4.9. All right, let's go see what's in figure 4.8 and 4.9. That would be how to create data sources. How about here? 4.8. Okay, we're going to do this connection string thing here. Now, the problem is, let's make sure that our database is available for us. This is the Halloween database. It turns out, because this is Visual Studio 2015, and these exercises were designed for use with earlier versions, turns out that this database here has to be upgraded. And the way we can make sure that it works is we can make sure the connection string works. So if we click this, we see the database is not compatible with the current instance of the SQL server. To resolve this, we must upgrade the database. So let me click on OK. Click here, connect to database. Oh, here we go. SQL Server Database Client. Yes, that's what we want. We want the server database. That's server database file. And the database we're going to use is, let's find it. It's in the 3 o'clock class, exercise 4, inside here, inside our app data folder. And there it is. It's this one. Open. And let's click OK. And it says, blah, blah, blah. Do you want to upgrade the database file now? And I'll say yes. And now we've got our little green plug, which means we're plugged into the database. Let's see how many tables we have here. My goodness, pretty big database. All right, so let's connect this data source up to it. So let's go back here and click like right here, and there's this little thing there. Let's click on that and see what happens. Configure data source. Okay, so what's the connection string? This one. Next. And I'm going to name it Halloween Connection. Next. I'm going to go, so we've done this, and now we're going to do this, and we're creating this SQL Datasource 1, and we're going to connect, it's going to connect to the products table. You saw the tables, and we're going to connect to, we're going to choose all of the columns except for two of them, except for the category ID and the on-hand column. So let's go back here, and this is the categories table. We want the products table, and I want this one, this one, this one, this one, not this one, this one, this one, and not that one. So we selected all of them except for category ID and on hand. And the other thing we want to make sure is we want to, let's look back here. We notice it says order by name. If we actually look at the source code, we see this is the select statement, product ID, name, these are the columns, and then order by name. So let's make sure we get that in there. Let's click order by name, and ascending, that's the default. So let's click OK, and let's click next, and let's test the query. And this is what all the products look like. Alrighty. Finish. Okay. Now let's just see what's next. So we've done step 6. Switch to design view and display the smart tag for the drop-down list. Enable auto postback to true and bind the drop-down list to the data source as described in 4-10. If necessary, click the refresh schema link so you can see all the field names. Okay, so let me go to back to here, and I'm going to go switch to design, and here it is. And so here's the data source that we just configured. So let's click the smart tag for the drop-down, which is this right here. Click on that, and we want to enable postback. Okay, and what happens when I think I got to refresh something. Let me click down here. Click over on this one and refresh the schema. There. Now if I go over here and I click, I shouldn't need to, here. There we go. Product ID, we want to show the data field to display in the drop-down list is name, and the data field for the value will be product ID. All right, that's good for that. And run the application to see how the drop-down list works. Now you should be able to select a product from the list. Although the page will post back when you do that, nothing else will happen. Okay, so if we go like this and we run it, we see that the list works, but it doesn't really do anything else. Okay, so let's stop the application and return to Visual Studio. Okay, let's do step 9. Add the C# code for the order form. Okay, so we're going to go to the code behind file and enter in the code. Now, normally, and we're doing the code on that's on Figure 418. Figure 418 code is this code, Figure 418. So, in the interest of time, and because they give you the solution file, I'm going to go into the solution file. Oh, I have it over here again. I'm going to go into the solution file, and I'm going to find these files, the solution files, and that would be in the, right here, order.aspx, and I'm going to open that with my favorite text editor, and this is the code. So this is what the code should look like when it's all done. So we're going to add this code. We're going to add this code, this, and these methods here, these two methods, to the order.aspx page. So if you look at the order.aspx page, this is what it looks like now beforehand. And if we go down the line here on our exercise, which is here, we see that, okay, in Design View, double-click on the body of the order form to switch to the code behind file, and you'll be taken to the start of the event load handler. Before coding the event load handler, add a using directive for the system data namespace because we're going to connect to the database. So to do that part, they want us to know how to do this. So this is the page, and to get to the code behind file, one way to get to the code behind file is to click on something that's not an object. So like right here, I don't see anything. And we get to the code behind file, which is this, and this is goes right into the page load. But before we do that, we're going to add a system using system data. And then we're going to add a class level declaration. That's that top class level declaration for a product object, and that's this. So private, oops, what did I just do? Copy. And I'm going to put that right here. I think that's where I put it. Is it inside the public partial class? Yes, it is. So that's, and then we're going to enter the get selected product method that's shown in Figure 418. This should be coded right after the code for the load event handler. The get selected product method gets the data for the product that's selected in the drop-down list. So, the way this works is when the user selects something, then it actually gets posted back to the server. That value that was selected gets posted back to the server, and then the page returns with the information for the product selected and displayed, the image and the labels and so on. So let's just add this code. It instantiates a new product object, creates a new instance of a product object, and then it puts the database data for that product in the properties of the product object, and it returns the product object. That's what get selected product does. And so I'm going to make it easy on myself and just go over here, and that's this code here. Copy, and paste it over here. Control V. All right. Then I'm going to enter the code for the load event handler that binds the SQL Datasource to the drop-down list the first time the page is requested. So I'm just going to go over here, and I'm going to select the code inside this page load event handler and paste it over into the event handler. And then next we can run the application, and we can see that when we select a product, that the appropriate data gets posted back, and we see that the product gets displayed on the page. And then, okay, so let's do that. I'm going to run it. And we see when there's Austin Powers over, select something. See, it loads the first time it loads. It's just the first one. Then we select something, and we see it comes back with the hippie outfit and a description here, and so on. And I'm going to look and see what the page source looks like, and we see that it actually comes back with the value that was selected hard-coded in. So when we actually select something else, like the third one here, Darth Vader mask, it displays up the Darth Vader mask. When we view the source, we actually see that the Darth Vader mask is selected hard-coded. And that's your clue that this actually sends the data. It sends this Darth Vader mask selection back to the server, and the server takes that and generates a whole new page to return back to the browser. So it's kind of the old-fashioned way, but that's what that postback is. That's how these things work. The reason it appears so fast is because it's all going on inside your browser. But if you are on a website, a real website that's designed using this technology, you'll notice that every time you select something, it kind of blinks. You can tell it reloads the page. You just select something else and it reloads the whole page, and that's what's going on. So let's see what's next here. Step 14. In Design View, double-click the Add to Cart button to open the code editor and start the event handler for the Click Event button. Then add the code to the event handler so it adds the selected product to the session object. To do that, you can use the Get Cart and Add Item methods of the current item list class, the indexer for the current item list class, and the Add Quantity method. So basically, we're going to go here, and we're going to double-click on the Add to Cart, and the code behind comes up, and there's a nice method for when the event handler for clicking the add button. And so let's go see what the code looks like for that. And this is it. We're basically getting a cart item list. Here, I'm just going to copy this in. And now when we run this, we can select things, we can put a quantity there, and we can add to the cart, but it doesn't really do anything. I mean, well, it does do something. It's adding it to the cart, but we aren't displaying the cart. We have to go and add the code here to get the cart and display the cart. And so we just have to believe that it's working. So let's build out the cart and see it work. So step 15, open the ASPX file for the cart page in Design View and set the Postback URL property of the Continue Shopping button so it displays the order page. Okay, so this Postback URL, that's like clicking a submit button and posting to the server. But in this case, you're setting the action tag, the action attribute of the form tag to the order page, and that's what setting the postback URL to the order page does for the continue shopping button. So let's do that. So we go to our cart page, design view, and we want to click on. Is there a no smart thing? Okay, I have to go over properties and properties. Button continue, postback URL, order.aspx. All right, and now we're going to see if it works. So I'm going to run it. So I can select something, add to cart, go to cart, and then continue shopping brings me back here. Anyway, so let's see what's next. That works. Select the cart page in the Solution Explorer, and then click the View Code button at the top of the Solution Explorer window to display the code behind file in the code editor. All right, they're just trying to show you there's another way to do this. So I'm going to select the cart page, select the cart page, and I'm going to go and find the this one here, View Code. Click, and now I've got the code behind file for the cart page. And then before the event handler, declare a class level cart item list variable that can be accessed by all the methods for this form. Okay, I'm going to go back to my solution. I'm going to go back to my solution, and I'm going to find the cart code behind. And I'm going to open it with my editor, and I'm going to find, this is the code. So first of all, I'm going to throw this in there. Right here. That's this class item list variable that can be accessed by all the methods of this form. Okay, what this is this is the actual shopping cart. It's a list of cart objects, which you can see right like here. Here's a cart item, and then this is a cart item list, which is a list of cart items. Okay, so code the display cart method as shown in figure 420. Here the LST cart refers to the list box that's on the form. So this is the list box right here, it looks like. List box. And that's LSTBOX. If you look at the properties, the name of it is LST cart. LST cart. So let's and let's go to figure 4-20 just to see what that looks like. It is the C# code for the cart page, which is this 20, and we're going to throw this code in there. So first we're going to code the display cart method. So that would be this. Copy. There's the display cart method. And all this does is it, you recall code like this when we, similar to code like this when we were displaying a list view. This adds items to the list. And step 19, run the application to test the code. And here we are. Let's add a Darth Vader mask. Should display. Oh, I didn't put the page load function in there yet. You need to do that. Oh, this one. Okay, so we've got the page load function in there, and we've got the display cart function. Okay, that should work. Now it should work. So deranged cat, just throw in one of those, and there it is. Continue shopping, fog juice, put in a couple of those. There we go. And we can put in life-size skeleton, but none of these work. The delete remove items and the empty cart doesn't work, and checkout doesn't say anything. So let's put those in there. We're going to put in the remove button, which takes the selected item, the selected index, and removes it using a remove at method. And empty just clears out the cart, clears out everything in the list, and the checkout button just displays this, sorry, that function hasn't been implemented yet. So if we look, we close this, and we're going to put those three functions in here. Let's it's this one down to here. Those three methods, copy, paste them right here. And now when we run this, we see that we can add stuff. Frankenstein, hippie, and oh, I don't want hippie. Remove item. Remove item. No, that doesn't work. I wonder if the problem is I gotta go from here. What does this do? You know the problem is you have to button remove click. Button remove click one. Okay, the problem is you have to, what I did was I just copied in code. And what I should have done instead was double click on the button, because double clicking on the button will actually connect up this with the event handler that you want to use for the click. And so what happened was I double clicked on this, and it came over here, and it saw that there already was something called button remove click, and it can't use the same name as that, so it calls it button remove click one. And that's why when you look at the properties for this, it says this. And so I'm just going to switch back over to button remove click. That. There we go. And I better do the same thing for empty cart, since the code's already in there. Click on empty cart, go to properties, and the click action is button empty click. And what was the other one? I'll check out, click on properties, and the click is going to be button checkout click. Okay, now when I run this, and I add some flying bats, and I add some Superman, I can remove the flying bats, I can add something else, and I can empty the cart, and I can check out, and it says, sorry, the function hasn't